What are some of the mind-blowing stunts that turned out to be real instead of computer-animated cop-outs? Fasten your seatbelts and get ready for some action.
3, 2, 1!
Those early Fast and Furious flicks involved a lot of racing. But just how much of it was down to real drivers doing their thing? What you just saw was stunt drivers doing what they do best. Some driving scenes were more difficult to shoot than others, though. The mountain road adventure in Tokyo Drift immediately springs to mind. Just how much of it was real? It's easy to overlook the low-key drag racing moments since the franchise went on to become more ambitious with its set pieces. Then again, the Fast and Furious saga showed glimpses of its current insanity as far back as the first sequel. Too Fast, Too Furious's biggest action set piece sees Brian and Roman crash their vehicle into a boat. It isn't the biggest stunt the franchise ever pulled off, but it's impressive nonetheless. See for yourself. But was it real or CGI'd? Both, actually. The stunt required around 3 months of planning before they even attempted it. To get the ball rolling, the stunt coordinators had to storyboard the entire process on paper. After that, they created it digitally to get an idea of how it would look. Here's special effects supervisor Al Desario to explain it.
It went to a computer-generated drawing, which showed us all the details we needed to know.
But can a car actually fly such a far distance without computer assistance?
We did what's called a cable-off type of a gag, where we towed the car into the ramp to get the speed we needed.
Of course, there was also the issue of making sure the car wouldn't sink as soon as it landed in the water. To do this, the team removed the engine and created a facade bottom that enabled the car to float like a boat. To get the car to collide with the yacht, they tied it to a special rig and sent it hurling into a boat that was rigged with explosives. With the practical destruction out of the way, CGI was used to tie it all together.
Ready? And
Crashing cars into boats is cool and all, but that's pretty simple compared to carrying out a massive chase sequence with a freaking bank vault tied to cars. You'd be forgiven for thinking that the vault chase in Fast 5 was mostly CGI due to how complex and dangerous it looks. But did the filmmakers choose to go with a more complicated option? Of course they did. Seeing stunt performers having to evade a speeding vault is nerve-wracking stuff, but actually steering the vault past the pedestrians was more complicated. To do this, the prop team chopped up a pickup truck and stuffed it inside a fake vault, allowing the driver to retain some semblance of control over the steel death trap,
so that he could actually swing it around the corner and drive it extremely.
The driver's biggest problem was contending with the soaring hot temperatures inside the container of chaos, and he almost passed out a couple of times. However, he had it easy compared to the bikers who risked their lives while tumbling off of their motorcycles. Bikes don't offer performers as much protection as cars and trucks do. So stunt coordinator Jack Gill and his team had to get creative.
You weld on 2 little tiny places where you can put your feet back there, so that right before you hit this vehicle, you can push like crazy and get your knees above those handlebars.
Unfortunately, the risky stunt did lead to one guy having to go to a hospital afterward. So their efforts weren't totally on point. Check out this nasty fall.
Didn't get off the motorcycle quick enough. He was a millisecond late, and he dug his shoulder into the car right there instead of turning completely over and broke his shoulder.
Maybe CGI would have been the better idea in this scenario, but you can't help but appreciate everyone's commitment to authenticity. The car drivers were also required to take some bumps for the greater good, especially when that police car crashed into a pole and flipped around in style. That wasn't easy to pull off by any means. To ensure that the flip looked spectacular, Jack and the gang had to make sure the vehicle would spring when commanded.
Underneath the car, we put what's called a cannon. So just think about a real cannon pointed toward the ground, stuck where the passenger seat is.
After that, it was up to the driver to detonate the cannon and take the tumble.
And then you give the stunt guy a button, and you say, come in here at speed, pitch the car sideways, hit the button, that cannon fires, shoots the projectile out, hits the ground, and makes this car flip like this.
The only downside of such an incredible action sequence is having to top it in the next movie. Of course, the Fast and Furious franchise seems to relish those challenges, as evidenced by the tank carnage in the 6th installment. There's no way that any governing body would allow for a bunch of Hollywood hotshots to let a tank loose on a highway, though, right?
It made all the difference.
The filmmakers were given permission to wreck the highway, and they created a custom tank that could travel as fast as 60 miles per hour to do so. Having it crash through a truck was always going to be complicated, though. So how did they go about doing that? But what's a tank chase without cars on the highway to roll over? The ambition to outdo each action set piece grows with each passing Fast and Furious movie, but Furious 7 boasts the biggest one of them all. Remember the logic-defying plane drop? Of course you do. It's iconic. Skybound action is much trickier to pull off than ground-based thrills, and this sequence is more ridiculous than most. This is a franchise that's full of grandiose set pieces, but this one is next level. Is it even possible without CGI?
We're maneuvering our bodies under the car, around, over the hood to give them that shot that they're looking for.
This is how it looked before the touch-ups were applied in post-production. But rest assured, dear viewer, those are real cars falling from the sky. The biggest challenge was ensuring that they found the right altitudes to avoid hitting people on the ground. Can you imagine being in the desert that day, minding your own business, then being crushed with a descending automobile? Yikes. As impressively real as all that was, however, there's no way that those cars could just land on the ground and start driving like they do in the movie. So how do the filmmakers go about making the cars seem like they landed undamaged?
And everybody's been getting amazing shots.
Helicopters were used to drop the cars, ensuring that they'd still fall to the ground from a decent height, albeit one that wouldn't cause any wreckage. Once again, visual effects were only used to bring it all together and make us think there were real people in those cars. This saga might be fast and furious, but it ain't about taking shortcuts. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our best Fast and the Furious bloopers. They're hilarious.